with public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board should complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. Do you have public comment? No. Okay, next up is board committee reports and correspondence. Do we have committee reports? Okay. I attended social justice meeting last week, and it was a good meeting, just aligning the diversity plan to the aspects of the strategic plan. So it was a good conversation and a lot of good ideas flowing and actions happening. Next up is Illinois Outstanding School String Teacher Award. Mr. James Horn.
Yes, good evening. So last week at the Illinois Music Educator Association yearly conference, one of our own at DeKalb High School, Sheila Felder, was awarded the Outstanding String Music Teacher of the Year. So I just want to recognize her then from the board.
Excellent. Next up, we have the consent agenda. It is recommended the Board of Education approve items A through D on the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Sarah Moses.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Daisy Ramirez.
Yes.
David Seymour.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Samantha McDavid.
Yes.
Okay, next up is old business. This is the Barb Food Mart funding request. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we table this for tonight until we can get some more information based on what we were able to find out so far. This is obviously an important item to us. We want to make sure we have all the information before we make a decision on it. Even though we're getting more information, we'll wait for the further information. So I would like to go ahead and make a motion to table item A under old business. Is there a...
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Daisy Ramirez.
Yes.
David Seymour.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Samantha McDavid.
Yes.
Sarah Moses.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Okay, next up are the bid results for the Huntley Middle School kitchen renovation. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the bid for the Huntley Middle School kitchen renovation to Gerke Construction Incorporated in DeKalb, Illinois in the amount of $448,800. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Daisy Ramirez.
Yes.
David Seymour.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Samantha McDavid.
Yes.
Sarah Moses.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, next up is the custodial staff proposal, cost savings, FTE revision. So this is what we voted on in our last meeting. There has been an update with a savings, cost savings. So we wanted to go ahead and revise it, and it is recommended that the Board of Education revise the approval from January 25th, 2022 from an 8.0 FTE to an 8.25 FTE with an estimated cost of $409,029 instead of $468,673. So a savings of just under $50,000. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
David Seymour.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Samantha McDavid.
Yes.
Sarah Moses.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Jeremy Wilson.
So when I vote yes, I just want to make sure I was clear on that I'm voting yes to the savings,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Daisy Ramirez.
Yes.
Next up is new business. Item A, DHS music travel to California. Mr. James Horn.
Yes, prior to the pandemic, our music program for both orchestra as well as for marching band fundraised to do a trip to Prague. Pandemic hit, that trip has been scheduled and rescheduled. We're touching on 2 years now, so some of the students have graduated and the other ones are about to graduate. So students are really looking to engage in a trip. So we found a compromise. They are asking permission for an out-of-state trip to California. The band is going to perform at, excuse me, at Disneyland, and the orchestra is going to perform at the San Diego Zoo. So this would be in lieu, and it would be done with funds that have already been fundraised. We're just looking for permission to do the travel out of state.
Okay, so I have this down for information.
Yep.
And, okay, so consensus to bring this back?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Next up is, DHS, that's where you're supposed to. DHS Student Council IASC State Convention overnight trip.
Overnight trip will be held in early May, and that is the state convention for our student council, which is in a rebuilding year. During the pandemic, we did have some dwindling interest because it was difficult to do that virtually. The group is back, is excited. We have some new advisors that are doing some great things with it. So this is professional development for the students and some networking as well.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Next up, item C, auditorium facility use manager and broadcast manager position proposal. Ms. Tammy Carson.
Last July, I came forth and the board approved for us a change to a position that we had that was a full-time position that was an auditorium manager, facility use manager. That was held by Brian Allen, who suddenly passed last May, and we were looking to make some changes which you approved, which split it into a auditorium manager with the broadcast manager full-time, and then the facility use manager part-time. We have made some extensive interviewing efforts with little results in regards to finding an individual that can be auditory and broadcast together. Brian had a unique set of skills that he was able to take over the broadcast, but unfortunately we're not able to find somebody with those two sets of skill sets in one. We also struggled to actually fill the facility use manager position at the same time, and it's a part-time. So, and that is actually one of the items that's tied to our strategic initiative and our strategic plan in regarding community development. So we are coming forth, James Horn, Peter Goff, Travis Erickson, and I are part of an interview team asking to just do a reclassification, putting the auditorium manager with the facility use manager position as a full-time, and then breaking off the broadcast manager position into the part-time role. There's no change in request in regards to the salary range, the hours, or the hourly rate for the part-time position. It's just reclassifying those three positions because we do have hopes that we're able to fill those with those different sets of skill sets.
Okay, so consensus to bring this back for a vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. TRS Supplemental Savings Plan, Ms. Cindy Carpenter.
So the Teachers Retirement System, TRS, has started a supplemental savings plan, which basically gives those in the TRS retirement system the option to have money deducted from their checks to set aside for retirement, just kind of like a 403B, but it's called the 457 plan. So what we have to do is pass a resolution so we can be part of that plan, so we can start it, so our teachers and anybody that's in TRS can participate. At the moment, the attorneys are still working through fine-tuning some of the plan details, because initially when this was rolled out, there was a lot of responsibility on the district to kind of keep track of things, which most districts did not feel that was appropriate. So there's some changes being made, but what our attorneys have suggested we do is to start the process to get a resolution signed that once everything is set and they're comfortable with the participation agreement, then we can sign it on behalf of the district. So this is really just informational, and we'll bring it back to the next meeting to actually formalize the resolution, which gives us that option to sign that participation agreement when our attorneys are comfortable with the language in the agreement. And that way TRS members can go ahead and start having those deductions made and save on their own as well.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
And then next up is Summer Academy 2022 proposal.
Cost waiver.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
No problem.
Limitation of administrative cost waiver.
So this is a part of the school code. There's various functions, they call them, in the accounting system for Illinois school districts that are part of administrative costs. And if those increase more than 5% from the previous year's actuals, we have to do a hearing to waive those costs, waive that increase. For this budget year, the increase is about 10%. The reason why the increase is beyond the 5% is because in last year, we just did not have as many costs because of COVID. Also, we had interim superintendent in there as well, so a little less costs there. So because our district is within the 4th quartile in terms of what our administrative costs are, we're ranked actually 365 of 385 unit districts, meaning we have very low administrative costs in comparison to other districts. We have the option to waive that, but we do have to go through this process of doing a hearing and then waiving that increase and then file that with the state. So it's just really an administrative process we need to go through.
Okay.
So we'll bring this back next meeting with a public hearing, and then the board can consider waiving that.
Okay. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Next up is Summer Academy 2022 proposal. Mr. Philip Wayne.
Hi, good evening, board. For tonight, I'm bringing forth a proposal for Summer Academy. This summer, we'd like to offer 4 programs. The first program is an elementary school program serving students from grades K to 5. It'll be a STEAM-themed summer. We'll include literacy and inquiry-based project learning. The second is a partnership with NIU for 6th to 8th graders, and it'll also be STEAM-themed. Some of the other items will be robotics, coding, and some of the other items in the one-pager that we have in the packet. For high school, we'll be offering credit recovery, get-ahead credits, and then special education. And our 4th program would be for ESY, special education. In total, we're looking to serve over about 1,000 students, and the estimated cost for 1,000 students is $682,636.31.
Does anybody have questions?
I have a question. So the 2 STEAM, are those would be new this year, or we've done them previously?
I can't speak to what happened in the prior years. The partnership in the middle school is new, but my belief is that we're pulling from prior curriculum that we've done before around STEAM
Okay.
and using it again this year.
And then will students be selected based on like need, prioritizing academic
Yeah, we're
acceleration
recruiting-
needs? Okay.
Yeah. We're recruiting students in waves, so we're taking into account academic needs and then opening them up in waves as we're being able to fill seats.
Any other questions?
I'm just curious because I don't remember this program. So do we do this every year? I don't remember passing anything for this. That's what I was asking.
I don't remember. I remember extended school year in the high school program. I'm not sure.
I can probably speak to that a little bit.
There we go.
Better. So last year was the first year that we really expanded our summer school options for the Summer Academy. So this would actually be an expansion on what we did last year. 3 years ago, what we offered was the high school programming, an extended school year. If you go back a number of years, I think the district has done various summer school programs, whether it be for some elementary age students or middle school students. But I believe because attendance was pretty low, the district moved away from that at some point. So I would say this is kind of in the last 2 years, kind of a more robust summer offering.
Okay. And the cost number, is that sort of a ballpark if you get 1,000 people signed up? I assume
Correct.
this is a voluntary activity, so if only 500 people sign up, is there going to be half the cost, or what do we, I mean?
Right, so if less students sign up, there'd be less cost in transportation and less cost in staffing.
Do we know the interest level? Kyle just mentioned that years ago, they saw something like this and the attendance level was low. Do we know that there would be interest from our families in the district to have this?
We won't know until we send out the recruitment pamphlets and the offerings, but we're anticipating that there will be interest. Our whole point was that we make it a very fun summer with the STEAM themes.
I guess, yeah, I think I'm in favor of, obviously with COVID and all the issues we've had with people getting behind, I think this is awesome. So don't get me wrong when I'm asking financial questions. But the way that the pricing is being set to approve here, just in the information only piece, is there a way that we can see it more on a cost per student basis? or just a little bit more breakdown than just a blanket $650,000. I guess that's my sort of ask, is when we get presented this to vote on, just maybe
So-
interrogate that a little further. Is that possible? Because, I mean, I'd like to know before we just,
So we can do cost per student, that's not in there, but on page 3, there's a cost breakdown for each program and a little bit more information. So apologies if I'm presenting too high of a view. But
it's
there's
just
some
hard to
information.
know, and if, once we approve it, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have someone come back and say, hey, this is what we spent on that program, right? So I would just like to know going in, so that when I ask how many people signed up, we kind of get an idea of what we spent. I don't know if anybody else.
Well, I was just thinking some of that cost though, whether you have
Agreed.
10 students or 15 students, the salary cost would still be the same for many of these.
Yeah, so maybe we
Well,
could
the
just do a
NIU
fixed
STEAM
cost, variable cost.
Right. The NIU STEAM is,
That'd be
they're
nice.
saying it's, the cost per section, 25 students per section is 5,500. Additional section capacity can be added at $220 per student up to 35 students, so.
Cindy wanted to add something.
If you're,
But does that change if we get less students? I guess that was sort of where I was going.
I just want to add to so the summer academy that we had, the expanded summer academy we had last summer, that was funded with ESSER, and our plan is to do the same because we actually have to, in ESSER 3, have to allocate some dollars for summer enrichment and summer programs, so this is a perfect place to place those dollars. So the elementary grade K to 5, we funded that last summer with those funds. We'll do the same this summer. And then the middle school STEAM, this is the new piece that we haven't had, and we would do the same because, again, we have to spend actually a certain amount of dollars in those programs in order for us to qualify for the grant. So you'll see those two, the elementary and the middle school, will be funded with ESSER funds. The other two are ones that we've had year to year, naturally.
I have one more question too. So like the high school, summer school offerings around math. So they got Algebra 1, Semester 2, Algebra 2, Semester 2, Geometry, Semester 2. Is there a more of a need for credit recovery for math than just this?
Since James is here, can we have James answer that question?
So the question was it more of a need for credit recovery in math?
Yeah.
That's historically yes, and it's because math is a year-long class. And what we have found is that students tend to fail the entire year, semester 1 and semester 2. And we've had students find success having semester 2 over the summertime and coming back and taking that first semester so that they're able to double up first semester. So for example, if you were to fail algebra, you would get caught up by the end of first semester. That would be your sophomore year while doubling up with geometry. Then on the back end of it, only have geometry that second semester. So that's one way we've done it. The other thing is with need, because it's rare that students looking for a get-ahead in just a semester of math because they're year-long classes. It fits best in the summertime. Credit recovery is also offered through our Edgenuity program, which is an online platform. Most students who struggle with math, not all, but by and large, the vast majority of them, really rely on that teacher. And to go through a computer program with math is less than ideal for many of our kids.
Sure. And does that run over the summer, or is that?
Edgenuity does run over the summer, that's correct. We have 3 different sessions of it. First session is always prioritized for our seniors who were very close to graduating, just maybe failed government or something along those lines.
Okay.
But we run that all the way through August with the credit recovery available. The in-person for both Get Ahead and credit recovery is just run for those 4 weeks. That's been part of this proposal right here. So the credit recovery classes tend to be your math classes. We do a humanities credit recovery as well.
Thank you.
Last question, last year's summer program, how many students were served? Was it 1,000 last year as well?
I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. I know we believe we presented to the board at some point early this school year. It seemed like forever ago, but I can look that up and get you a better number. That included ESY, which is our special ed, as well as our summer academy.
And to that point, since the program happened last summer, was there an effort to try to go recruit students, or did you have kind of the number that you needed to serve?
I wasn't as involved in the summer academy. I was more involved in ESY, so I'm probably speaking for people on their behalf. But I know there was an effort to recruit students, and kind of like Phil said, in waves. So when that initial recruitment, if we didn't get the numbers they were looking for, then they'd reach out to another group of students. So I do think it was an effort to get students to come in last year.
Any other questions? Okay. So is there a consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Phil. And then next up, item G, just so the public is aware that the school board is conducting a middle of the year informal superintendent check-in, and we will be doing that process over the next couple weeks. And with that, superintendent update.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Today I am bringing up a couple of just different things to check in to ensure that everybody understands where we're at. So we are currently in the Social Justice Committee. We have 17 individuals, the bulk of them which are teachers, and we have a couple of coordinators, 8 principal, a couple of board members that have joined us, that we are working on reviewing the diversity plan that was developed in 17-18, has been updated ever so carefully over the last couple of years, and now we are aligning it to the strategic plan. Each one of the goals, there's 4, is being looked at by the teacher groups, and making sure that we are clear on what those goals are, what they look like, so that eventually we can turn it into an implementation plan. The strategies will be very clear on what needs to happen in order to achieve that goal. So our individual teams at that point are reviewing them and sharing them out. Once we're able to adapt them accordingly, then we'll be presenting it to the board for approval and updated version of the diversity plan that now aligns with that. And then once we've completed that, we will then have an implementation plan that we will bring to the board for approval to continue in action. That doesn't mean that we currently aren't already working on things. It just means that we just put it to paper so that it's visible and transparent to the community and everyone else, and also so that we can continue to make adjustments as needed. It's a flexible, fluid document. It's not something that, as is, that's it. It continues to grow depending on what the district and the community sees as needed as part of our diversity plan and as part of our strategic plan. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you. Just again noting that we have 17 individuals currently that are consistent, the majority of them which are teachers, and a couple of coordinators, and then of course a principal, myself, and 2 board members as of right now. And then I think the other thing that's really important is the last couple of weeks I've seen a number of complaints coming through the district to the Ed Center around things that are happening on about students, even families, concern and frustration that's coming out in between adults, and then how that may be causing some nuances with our children. So we all know, and I didn't want to mention, I hope I didn't give that, that perception to anybody, the diminishing about where our children are and the issues that they're going through, the trauma and other things that they're bringing in with them when they come home, when they come to school from home. My intention was to say that children just don't come to school and say, I'm going to behave a certain way. There are things that they bring in with them from wherever they're coming from, whether it's at home or other places, that brings them into the school, that their actions tend to be a certain way. And they may count on us to be able to see that and be able to support them. While they are in our care, it is our legal and ethical and moral obligation as the parentis locus to ensure that our children are being cared for appropriately and that we're giving them what they need. And sometimes they just make it difficult for us, right? But what's making it a little bit more difficult now is that parents are coming in or guardians are coming in, and there seems to be a little bit of a clash, right? And I get it, parents want to support their children. They should, they advocate for their children, they know their children best. But sometimes I think some of us feel I feel like customer service should be the forefront of us. So our customers are, my customers are all of you, every single one of you, right? That's who my clientele is, whether it's a staff person or a community member or a teacher. When it's this building principal, it's definitely everybody that they serve and who is supported. The classroom teachers, their students, and so on and so forth, you get it, right? And so I just want us to be sure that we are being responsible and accountable to the work that we're supposed to be doing in general, not anything in specific. I'm having a hard time with some of the responses that people are getting or not getting and how people may be reacting. Over the course of Saturday and Sunday, I responded to emails, 23 of them actually, that were really hard to respond to because there is obviously something that needs to be addressed, and it's difficult for just one person to be able to address that. It takes all of us to be able to do that. So we'll be searching and looking for additional assistance. So if I ask someone, you know, I'm sorry that this happened, how can we make it better? It is intended for me to be able to take a suggestion into consideration for improvements, right? You guys are closer, the people that are closer to the children and to the classrooms, that it makes sense for us to have that conversation. It is not intended in any other kind of way, but I just want to make sure that when we're having those conversations, we're trying to be as transparent and genuine as possible so that we can continue to service our community the best that we can. If there is something that you need to share with me, feel free. I'm available, email me, I do respond. I try to respond within 48 hours. You know, sometimes it gets a little rough, but I would try to do that. And I look forward to people giving me suggestions or recommendations. We do take them to cabinet, we do take them to other places so that we can kind of ferret it out. We need everybody's support in being able to get past through these difficult times that we're seeing right now. Things that we might have seen before, but now it's just kind of tripled or quadrupled, and it's really hard, and it's frustrating for all of us. So I just want us to be better together, and I'm hoping that you'll join me in being able to do that. So that's my report for today.
All right, thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Samantha McDavid.
Yes.
Sarah Moses.
Yes.
Ariel Owens. Yes. Jeremy Olson.
Yes.
Casey Ramirez.
Yes.
David Seymour.